There has been many video game adaptations over time, whether it's for a movie or a TV show. There's heaps of them, and some of them are far more successful than others. HBO's The Last of Us is probably the most successful one of all time, both critically and also in terms of viewing figures and audience response. The Last of Us is an absolute hit. So what can we learn from HBO's The Last of Us when it comes to video game adaptations going forward? Yeah, so I got the glasses now, so I'm instantly smarter. I don't know how I feel about the glasses yet, but the brain capacity has increased because of glasses. My name's Aidan Green. I like to talk about films and TV over here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I'm going to be talking about The Last of Us again and again because I love this bloody show. I love the game. And I did miss the last couple of weeks. I've been doing weekly reviews, but I missed doing reviews for 5 and 6 because, funnily enough, this isn't my full-time job. Or a job by any means. I don't get paid. Spoilers are here. If you've not played the game, that's fine. I'm just going to be talking about the first 6 episodes of The Last of Us. So to briefly sum up, I thought that episode 5 was another massive, great episode. It was awesome to finally have a big set piece because I was starting to think that maybe the show was trying to dance around doing big set pieces, but I thought it was done really well. Only negative really was that I did feel like Kathleen and Sam and Henry's backstory was a little bit overcomplicated. It was good and it was a good layer, but I think there might have been a simpler way of having that dynamic play out. Oh well, it doesn't matter because then we got episode 6, which was fantastic, almost flawless. I thought this latest episode was just, proper unreal. The relationship between Joel and Tommy, that stuff was fantastic. The only negative for this episode, I think, would just be that the last 2 minutes were rushed. I like how the university stuff was quite quick, but just the final moments, I think that stuff was a little bit rushed. But other than that, a fantastic episode, and the actual focus of the episode itself was done incredibly well. So far we sort of have 6 undeniably fantastic episodes of The Last of Us, and how have they done it? How have they been able to pull off such a fantastic feat? Obviously, HBO money makes the whole production side of things a little bit smoother, but when it comes to the storytelling, what can this tell us about video game adaptations? I would highly recommend that you listen to the Last of Us podcast, the official HBO one with Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. They're the show's creators, and Neil Druckmann is the creator of the original game. It's hosted by Troy Baker, who played Joel in the Last of Us video game. It's fantastic. And a lot of what I'm going to say here is what I have sort of grabbed from that podcast. Every decision they make on the show is very informed, and they go through all of that on that podcast. So make sure you go check it out. I'm not as smart as this is going to make me seem, although the glasses are working in my favor here. Embrace the change of medium. The Last of Us on HBO doesn't follow beat by beat the game. It's a very different medium on TV, and it must be completely redesigned for it. Druckmann has said multiple times in the podcast that they had to, redo a few bits of conflict in the game to make sure that the audience and the gamer had a proper understanding of the mechanics of each thing, whether it's throwing a brick or things like that, a few similar stealthy situations. Each thing is purposely thought out in the video game to make sure that the audience is getting really familiar with the things that they're doing. In the TV show, you don't have to familiarize the audience over and over again with throwing a brick at a clicker or something like that. So they can do things completely differently and scrap a lot of those sort of repeated scenarios that you experience in the game. And that allows for a lot more time to spend with characters. And ultimately, it's just a reflection that these two mediums are so different. What works in the video game isn't going to always work in a TV show or a movie. Another benefit of the TV medium is that you can step away from your main characters. In games like The Last of Us and Uncharted and pretty much any game, you're usually fixed to mainly one main character, and you can't cut away to side characters. You spend most of your time around one character, and in The Last of Us TV show, they've said, no, we don't have to do that. Now we can expand on characters like Kathleen, we can see Sam and Henry before they meet up with Joel and Ellie. They are really embracing this change of medium, and I think that's part of the reason why The Last of Us on HBO is so damn successful. Tying into this is limiting your set pieces. The Last of Us game is full of set piece after set piece. There is a part of me that when some of these set pieces don't quite make it into the TV show, I die a little bit inside. I do, because I love the game and I know it off by heart, and so seeing little scenarios like Joel hanging upside down, protecting Ellie, seeing those scenarios not make it into the TV show does kill me a little bit inside, okay? I'm gonna say it kills me. but it does make the set pieces that you get in the show a whole lot better. They're not trying to cram in every big action scene. They're cherry picking specific moments and combining specific moments. The end of episode 5 is the perfect culmination of that. Instead of having a clicker scenario and a few more different clicker scenarios throughout the town and the tunnels and the basement, instead you get all that happen in one big spooky thing. I think it's all the more better for it. It's made the appearance of the infected and the clickers be all that more terrifying, because when you do see them, it's a massive deal. And it's like, oh, we're doing a clicker thing now. It's the first time in like 3 episodes we've seen a clicker. This is a big bloody deal. So not trying to give you every scene in the game, and instead cherry picking specific scenes, combining some of them, has really benefited this TV show. Bouncing off of that is the idea of knowing the moments that matter. What moments do you really need that are essential to the game to adapt into a TV show or a movie? There's so many beautiful character scenes. The Last of Us as a game has so many fantastic cutscenes, and so many of those have made it into the TV show, and so many of them haven't. But the most important ones, the ones that are so important to the character story, have all been taken in pretty much word for word.
I've lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
And that scene is perhaps the most famous scene from the game. We did it almost exactly. We changed a few things here and there. The general execution of it was something that I thought was important we stick to exactly.
But they're not afraid to change things a little bit. At the end of episode 6, when Ellie is mad at Joel for Joel wanting to ship Ellie off to Tommy, the setting, the internal setting is the same, but the external environment is completely different. We don't have Ellie having run off away from Joel, which is what happens in the game. Instead here, we have it taking place in Jackson, which isn't in the first game. So the sort of large circumstances of things have shifted, whilst the scene itself remains the same. Although there was one line that I would have loved, because it's like my favorite line in the game. We did miss out on Joel's iconic, "Ellie, you are treading on some mighty thin ice here." Ultimately, they know the scenes that they want to recreate, and they're aware that some lines don't need to be in there. Lines that work in the game, in how scenes play out in the game, may not necessarily need to be in scenes in the TV show. And that's fine. It just hurts me, and I get a little bit sad. But I think it works really well without them. It doesn't need them in there. And my final point here is, remember what made the game. What made the game so special was Ellie and Joel, their connection, and the themes to do with love, how dangerous love can be, what will one do for those that they love. And that will come up in a big way in the finale of the TV show. But throughout the whole show already, that theme has been there. As we've watched Ellie and Joel's journey, it's been a part of that journey. Joel being closed off for fear of losing someone he loved again and what that might make him do. He doesn't want to be hurt again. But it also affects all of our side characters. For example, Frank and Bill, they successfully had a time of love, and in the end ended up having a bit of a Romeo and Juliet moment, because that's what they would do for love. We also see with Sam and Henry what they would do for each other, stealing the leukemia medication. And then we also see Kathleen, once her brother has been ratted out, we see what she would do for love, how she's ultimately turned this town and they're chasing Sam and Henry. That's what she would do for love. It's all laid out. It is the ongoing theme of the show and the game. They know what the game was about at its most essential thematic core. They know what it's about, and they're bringing that in here. No matter what they change in the TV show, they always make sure that that theme is present. And Craig and Neil talk about that so much in the podcast. It's such a vital component as to what makes the game work. And for me, that is the number one reason as to why the TV show works. It also helps that Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal are absolutely phenomenal. And every week I come out of it and I message my friends and I say they are the best there's ever been this week. And every week I say the same thing. So every week they just get better and better and better. So that's what makes The Last of Us on HBO work so well for me. Those 4 main key things. It's gonna keep being great, isn't it? I don't think it's gonna slip in quality ever. Like I said, my name has been Aidan Green, and make sure you subscribe and like this video to help me out for the algorithm. Love talking about this kind of stuff. And I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Goodbye. Did I just shaka? Why did I shaka? That is the lamest way to end a video. That's almost as lame as being like, and I'll see you next week. Which I have done a lot in the past, so.